Hello, welcome to the Redhead and the Bearded Beauty. I'm the Redhead.
And I'm the Bearded Beauty.
What do we have going on, Tyler?
So we got a lot going on. Recently, last week, we just talked with the mayor, and we were out talking snow removal. So
Snow removal, our annual snowdeo.
Yes.
Snow rodeo.
And that's always a popular briefing.
It is. It really is.
Maybe our most popular briefing of the year.
It is after that one and the Sweepers of the Plains.
Those yes, Sweepers of the Plains. So
yeah, those are probably our two most popular things that we do. The snowplow site breaks like at the beginning of every year. And it's not really because of all the people visiting it. It's the buildup of data that the trucks have throughout the year. But yeah, so that we had our first winter storm yesterday.
Yeah, so. I was rather disappointed when I woke up this morning and there was nothing on the roads.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But you don't know, it's Kansas. So we prepare for the worst and, it adjusts hour by hour. But
yeah, the meteorologists say we're going to get, anywhere from 2 to 5 inches. So that means nothing to 10.
We got 0.4 and we actually broke a record.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the previous record was 0.3 of this day, but we broke a little record.
Oh, awesome. We're shattering records there.
Look at us. We're doing great.
And speaking of snow plows, you're taking on a little mission to name the snow plows.
I've wanted to do this for a while. It's not a popular project. It is logistically difficult, but a lot of communities name their snow plows, and they'll do contests to name the snow plows for the community. Yeah. I didn't do that.
You just came up with some names.
I have named them.
And honestly, when you first sent out the list, I was sitting there looking through. I was like, I want to name one, and no. I could not come up with anything better. You know
what? We've got a lot of them. I tried to represent all genres of music, and as much as I could. And we've got some highbrow, we've got some lowbrow. Spready Van Halen, Eisenplower, ICT. It runs the gamut. But we have 60. So we have 60 snowplows to name. Not all of them are on the roads at all time, but you can. The problem is we have to track them on the back end with numbers and have the name forward facing. So we think we figured that out, but we're just dealing with some internal logistical issues.
Yeah, it's never easy inside City Hall to get stuff done.
No, we have to do things very methodically, which is good, but also
there's a rhyme and a reason to why
definitely
everything is done, but it can be rather frustrating at
100%.
times. Not just this project, but lots of projects.
All projects, like you're working on the website, so
Yeah. I thought we would have it built by now, but
yeah,
we haven't. We're still working on it. We're close to having a vendor in place, but we'll have a better product in the end because of all the stuff and all the people we have to bring in. So
moving forward, it'll be great. But projects like this, like the website is obviously very important. We take precedence, but naming the snow plows is like, do you have 20 free minutes? And we very rarely have 20 free minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Except when we film these.
But I think when you get on that snowplow tracker, seeing Spready Van Halen, as opposed to Snowplow 3419, it's
just goodwill.
That'd be pretty cool.
Community stuff. So speaking of goodwill for the community, we do have a community survey that launched online last week, and it's on our social media and forum. We really want people to take that. It's we do it was the National Citizen Survey that we did every 2 years. They were bought out by Polco, so it's on Polco. You do have to register just so that they can track data and make sure that results are as valid as possible. Online
it's not because we're big government and we want to track every move everybody makes.
Although we have gotten accused of that for this survey. No, we just want to know what your priorities for city services are. Are they parks? Are they streets? Let us know. So that's going to be open until I want to say November 28th.
Okay.
Don't quote me on.
You would know better than I
would. Yeah, but really important. We also did paper surveys, which are a little more scientific. So if you got one of those, make sure that you turn it in. It's important. It helps us just see where the priorities of the community are, how they rank those priorities, and so kind of it helps shape what we do year to year.
Very good.
We plan on doing that more often. It used to be every 2 years, and we're going to try and do that more often now.
So please, if you get that survey, please fill it out and return it to us. So, what else? We got Thanksgiving coming up. Is that next week already?
Is it? I don't think.
I think it's next week.
Is it next week?
Yeah.
Are we? I'm looking at the calendar now.
Look at the calendar. I'm pretty sure it's next week because the girls are out of school next week. So.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So it's coming up. So
we have a short week.
Yep.
We've had to move things back. Like we have the mayor's show, which is usually once a month. We're gonna film it because we can't do a live because of Thanksgiving. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
But so Thanksgiving, do you like to? I know the PD podcast they talked about this. Are you a fried, smoked, baked turkey person?
I don't care. I don't care person.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Very good.
What about you?
I smoke a turkey every year.
You smoke a turkey? Yeah.
Yep.
Do you brine it first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. And then stuff it with. I think one year I put a can of Bud Light in there.
Oh, we do that with chicken.
Yeah.
We call it beer butt chicken. It's really tender and good.
Yeah. Very good. So I don't know if I'll do the Bud Light again. But.
My dad used to use Old Milwaukee's Best, which is like the worst beer that he loved. So
very good. So I guess some safety tips for those who are going to be smoking turkeys, or I guess frying turkeys would be the bigger one. Don't fry your turkey in your garage or in your house. Make sure you're doing that outside. Yeah,
we have fires every year. Don't do it.
And then don't fry a frozen turkey. Make sure you give that a couple days to thaw out.
Come on, guys. Plan ahead.
I've seen the videos on YouTube. They drop a frozen turkey in there and it just blows up. So
maybe we should go out to the fire training center and do a video.
We tried that once. We didn't have a frozen turkey, but we overfilled the thing with grease trying to get it to catch fire and explode. And apparently whoever brought the fryer brought one of those that had the safety stuff in place. So we were making it overflow, and we had all the media out there to get video of it.
Oh, no.
And no, it
didn't explode.
The grease came out, and it didn't explode. It just kind of, I don't know if it shut off or what it did, but it was anticlimactic. And yeah. So
then people thought it was safe to do.
So then, people are dropping turkeys and grease going everywhere.
Oh, no.
But no, it didn't work. So what was funny, though, was it was out at the fire training grounds, and one of the recruit classes, they just went out throughout the day after that and checked on the turkey, and they were going to have a fried turkey in the evening.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Also, it's cold out. I finally turned on my heater. I'm one of the last ones to do that. But if you have like a space heater, don't plug those into power strips, plug it directly into the wall. We have issues with that every year too. So it's an annual reminder that we do, but it's, worth giving.
Worth reminding everybody. So, all right. Speaking of cold weather, and we have our homeless outreach team. They do a lot of work with the homeless and helping get information to them before the cold weather comes. So we have Officer Nate Schwiethale with us today. He's going to be joining us here in just a moment. So let's bring Nate in.
All right.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Nate.
There are about 160 lane miles of dirt streets in Wichita, many of which are in established areas developed decades ago. Property owners in the affected neighborhoods have opted to not have their streets paved for many reasons, including the financial burden of special assessment. Recently, the City Council approved a new program to gradually pave these streets. A total of $31 million is budgeted over the next 10 years, which is expected to pave 25% of Wichita's dirt streets. The program's first priority is to pave dirt streets in close proximity to schools. Once those streets are completed, paving will be prioritized using U.S. Census block-level poverty data. Specifically, blocks with the highest percentage of individuals below the income poverty level will be prioritized first. This paving process will not include curb, gutter, or surface draining improvements. For more information, please visit wichita.gov.
And welcome back. We are now joined by Nate Schwiethale with the Wichita Police Department's Homeless Outreach Team. Nate, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Nate, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been a police officer for 21 years now, actually. So I worked downtown my entire career, got into community policing, and then started our Homeless Outreach Team in 2013.
And who is Nate when you're not an officer? What are you doing outside of work?
What am I doing outside of work? I'm married. I like to go to concerts, love live music, that type of thing. So, yeah.
All right, very good. We like to kick these shows off with a little game called Two Truths and a Lie. So do you have your two truths and a lie?
Okay, I do. All right, so just do all three?
All three, yep.
Okay. All right. I love cats. I drive a 20-year-old car. And I wrote a poker book.
feel like you don't like cats.
Yeah, I was going to go with cats.
You're right. I'm a dog person.
Yeah. Just something about the way you said that. It seemed like, no cats.
I'm not a good liar.
What, you wrote a poker book?
I did, yeah.
Are you a big poker player?
Yeah. I was, and then COVID hit, and they shut down a lot of poker rooms in Vegas, so not as much as I was before, yeah.
What's your poker book called?
It's called Ace High, Mastering Low Stakes Texas Hold'em.
Where can you buy your
Amazon, Lulu.com.
This has become a commercial for your book.
Yep.
Yes.
There you go.
This episode is paid for by
by Nate's book.
All right, Megan, you got?
All right, I do. So we just had our first winter storm. They were like an inch, and we got less than half an inch because it's Kansas. So we have 9 brine trucks, over 60 snow plows, and 3 dispatch locations that we give out snow with.
I'll let you go first because I'm pretty sure I know it.
The brine trucks?
Brine trucks. Oh, yeah.
I'm going with that one.
You're right. We only have 8 brine trucks, but we do have over 60 trucks that they actually convert to snow plows. But yeah, I'm now really boring with all of my knowledge of snow operations because every time we have a winter storm, we do like stand-ups about what we do and stuff. So now it's just ingrained. We
must be vibing this morning because I also have salt and sand.
Of course you do, yeah.
So we have approximately 6,000 tons of 50-50 salt sand mix. In addition to that, this is all part of the same one here. Mm-hmm. We have roughly 1,700 tons of straight salt sand available in reserves to make an additional 35,000 tons of salt sand mix if needed. That's one. The Wichita media is addicted to our salt, and we don't plow residential streets because we want everyone to get stuck.
Did you say the Wichita media is addicted to our salt?
Yes.
What?
Yes, it's true. Every season, they're like, how much salt sand do you guys have? I mean, we get the same question every single year.
I mean, we do.
They want to know throughout the year, how's the salt supply?
That's true.
Was there a year that we didn't have enough?
I think several years ago, we always had enough.
Yeah,
but
we replenish after every winter storm too.
Yeah.
I will say that I don't blame them for always asking that question because we get the same questions too. Do you have enough drivers? Do you have enough salt?
Yep.
Are you ready?
It feels like the salt is the big one every year, though. Do you have enough salt? That's the first question they ask every time.
We do get that question quite a bit. So that is not the lie. Sorry, say the first one again.
You're going to make me repeat that?
Yeah, I am.
All right, you're going to look it up too, aren't you?
I've got it in my tweets.
Okay, we have approximately 6,000 tons of 50-50 salt sand mix on hand. In addition, we have roughly 1,700 tons of straight salt available in reserves if needed, enough to make 35,000 tons of salt sand mix.
Well, you're wrong. We have roughly 17,500 tons of salt sand mix.
So tell me wrong. That's not the lie, though.
Well,
we don't plow residential streets because we want people to get stuck.
Well, I was going to make you read the third one next, but you're still wrong on the first one.
I was off by 500. My bad.
Well, I'm sorry. What was it? Did you?
We don't plow residential streets, but it's not because we want people to get stuck. Man, we're getting caught up on. I thought that one would be easy,
I
but
don't need your lies about salt sand getting out there.
All right, let's get on. Let's move on here. Nate, so tell us a little bit about the homeless outreach team. How did it get started?
Like I said, I was working downtown my entire career, and we didn't have a hot team. Homeless outreach teams were kind of rare at that time, and half of my 911 calls were homeless related, and I just kept seeing the same homeless people that we were booking in jail. They were getting back out on the streets, and then the next day I'd catch the same guy doing something else, and then he would go to jail. Just a revolving door, and I felt like we weren't making a difference in our community. And in fact, maybe even worse, because stacking on fines and tickets, they can't pay for them, and then it's clogging up the court system, that type of thing. And nothing was changing. So that's when I started doing some research, and a new agency had started a new homeless outreach team in Colorado. So I went out there, got trained, and the concept is actually the opposite. It's if you can get a homeless person stable into housing, it reduces their chronic homeless population or their chronic homelessness, and then all their vagrancy arrests. So there was a study done by University of North Carolina, Charlotte, that showed that by 84% you could reduce those vagrancy issues. So from a law enforcement perspective, if that's our goal, then it doesn't necessarily have to be tickets and fines if we can look outside the box and do kind of non-traditional type policing. And I think it's really, that's our goal. That's our performance measure set by the city, we have to house over 100 homeless off the streets and into permanent housing. That's our goal. I mean, it sounds like social work, and maybe it is in some aspects, but there's a huge advantage with police homeless outreach teams. If you wake up in the morning and there's a tent in front of your front yard and you're like, whoa, I don't want that, who are you going to call? They're going to call the police. So as a first responder, we have an opportunity there to obviously address the concern and the issue, but then how do we take it a step further, and how do we prevent this from reoccurring again in the future and breaking that cycle? And that's really what our team does, is focus on getting these individuals off the streets and stabilized so they're not returning back to that park or setting up that tent again or causing issues in the community.
Now, since launching the team, you've been recognized nationally for the work that the HOT team is doing.
Correct. Yeah.
You've been to DC, and you've helped other agencies set up their own homeless outreach teams. Yeah. Kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of different agencies hire me as a consultant, IACP, National League of Cities, VCPI, and some other, and Department of Justice. So, and really it's, they want a baseline of, we got so lucky, they listed us, VCPI listed us as the best model out of like 50 different versions of HOT teams in the nation. So that's one of the times when I went out to DC, got to go up there and present for about a week, with them. And then they came back to Wichita and did a documentary on us. So that was really cool to hear. And then to be able to go out and train other cities to do what we're doing and implement in their city, that's awesome, and it's fun to do.
Yeah. Now, I know I've done ride along with you before and got video of you out interacting with our homeless population. And it was several years ago that we did that ride along, and then fast forward a year or two or something like that, we were doing one of a success story with someone, and I happen to recognize that was someone you were meeting with that had recently been housed, and now he has a job, and he's better. So tell us a little bit about some of those success stories and some of the things you see as this moves forward.
Are you talking about Rooster?
I believe it was Rooster. Yeah.
Yeah, he was for one of our first success stories. It was he was chronically homeless in the streets for 20 years and chronic alcoholic, and he was one of those guys that went through the system over and over again. And we ended up getting him clean and sober rather than going to jail. We went to inpatient treatment. And then he was able to come out clean, get into our Housing First program through the city. And then we worked to help him get a job. Now he lives on his own. He has 2 cars. And we talk still on a weekly basis with him. So, and really that's what our team does, is how do we break that cycle? Even if it takes a little bit longer and long term, how do we do that? The other thing that's important is our team, a lot of times you look at law enforcement and homeless as they don't mesh very well, right? And our relationship's a lot different. We try to build rapport and trust so that they want to work with us. And so, there's 600 officers that are writing homeless people tickets and fines. We try to do that as a last resort. I mean, we do have it in our toolbox if we have to, but our focus is really building that rapport, building that trust, and then if they can trust us, then we can get them into some programs and move on.
You talked about the programs. Some people think that the way to solve homelessness is just to provide housing, but could you speak a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, honestly, I probably think one of our first mistakes when we started, because we were all new, is we were getting homeless into housing and then going, okay, we did our job, and then a month later they're getting evicted because the real reasons why they were homeless in the first place are still there. So getting them into housing necessarily isn't solving anything. So we saw a gap in the community of having social workers to case managers to meet with them on a weekly basis to make sure they don't recidivate back into homelessness and keep them housed and really work on the issues of why they were homeless in the first place. So what we did is I saw a grant that opened up to the Department of Justice, and then I wanted to it required I partner with an agency. So I partnered with our city housing department. We won the grant. It was $1 million. With that, we're able to buy or hire some social workers and case managers that are going to help the people that we get into housing to be stabilized and not recidivate back into homelessness.
So now we all see people out on the street corners asking for change, that sort of thing. So what would your advice be to someone who sees them out asking for spare change or whatever? Do you want them to give to them, or what? Yeah, obviously not, but what would be a better avenue for them to be able to help out?
Yeah, I mean, well, just first thing on my little soapbox on that, there was a study done that showed that 93% of panhandlers admitted that the money was going to drugs and alcohol and tobacco, because a lot of the resources, the free food, free healthcare, clothing, and all that stuff we can get in the community. So that's typically what that money is going towards, is their vice. We're trying to get them off the drugs and the substance abuse issues. So if you're giving them money, you're kind of hurting all the work that we're doing to help turn these people's lives around. And, really, but at the same time, you see someone there, you want to help. We encourage, don't do a transaction in the middle of the street. That's actually illegal. It's a misdemeanor. You can pull off the road. You can go up and hand them one of our homeless brochures with all these resources. You can download that off of our city website on the wichitapolice.com. You find our homeless outreach team. There's a PDF there. You can print those off, hand those out, and it has all the places to get free food and resources for them, shelter, space, everything.
I know that Wichita does a good job as a community. We do a good job of helping our homeless population, our unhoused neighbors. Have we seen the number of unhoused people go up over the years? We hear that from people sometimes, that it seems like there's more and more unhoused people.
Unhoused. So actually our homeless population for the last 10 years has been pretty stable. Our chronic homeless population actually dramatically dropped when our HOT team started partnering with the providers. So that was good. We had, I want to say, like 140 when we started, and at one point we got down to 20, which was an 86% decrease in our chronic, which is homeless for a year longer than disabling condition, substance abuse, or mental health. So that's been good, because keep in mind other cities across the nation have had increases. The other thing that was important is about a year ago, so our unsheltered was 9.9%, whereas nationally that's 35%.
Wow.
Now, I will say there has been a slight increase. I think a lot of it because of COVID and individuals being scared to go into buildings because of COVID, so they weren't using the shelters, and I think that jumped up this past year a little bit. But for the most part, we're still under the national average. So and that really, I think, also what got attention from federally in Washington, D.C. is seeing the number of unsheltered and the drop in our chronic homeless population versus the rest of the city. So. But yeah, we're seeing a little bit of increase in people camping outside in tents and stuff, and so we always constantly try to adjust and see what changes can we make as a team.
So now, as it gets colder, every year you guys go out and you're letting them know, hey, I think that was the ride along I did with you. Hey, it's going to be cold here in a couple of days. Talk a little bit about what you guys do there.
Right. So every year, we do a lot of different things. Our focus, sometimes it's visiting campsites and stopping illegal camping, like on a sidewalk, or blocking things, getting dispatched to 911 calls that are homeless related, or addressing panhandlers. But when it gets cold, our number one priority is to get the message out. We're trying to visit as many camps as we can. We typically, the last few years, we print flyers off, which we have one that's being printed off here soon. It's getting ready to hit the print. And we're getting that information out to the homeless at those locations. We'll transport if they want. We'll do that. And that's our number one priority.
Very good. Anything else you want to tell us about the homeless outreach team?
If people want to help, we do technically accept donations. We have a program called Finding Your Way Home program. And if it's a homeless person, I know you've donated to it before, Tyler.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
But if you have if you want to donate, we have a homeless person who has a friend or family that's willing to take them in, and we can verify that. We'll buy them a bus ticket, and it's all tax deductible. And then we can get them on the bus, get them food, and make sure they get to where they're going to be, where they're not homeless anymore. We're not shipping homeless people out to be homeless in another city. It's homeless to housed with a bus ticket. It's all through private donations. None of it's tax dollars.
Very good. Dad joke time.
All right.
Do you want to go first?
No.
Nate, I'll let you go first.
Okay. What does a baby laptop say?
Dada.
Got it.
Now Tyler is the joke ruiner.
Yes, I kill jokes now. All right, Megan?
All right. Why did the burglar wear blue gloves?
I don't know.
He didn't want to be caught red-handed.
I was going to say that. Yes. I was going to say that, but I was like, no.
Very good, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
What do snowmen call their kids? You can't look at my screen, by the way.
I'm not looking.
Okay. What do snowmen call their kids?
An ice chip off the old block?
That
one's not
whoa.
good.
That was pretty good. That might be better, actually.
Yeah.
Children.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. I see the snow.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Nate, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, please email us at social@wichita.gov. We can answer your questions on the show, or if you have a topic you want us to talk about, we'll bring that person on. So thanks for watching.